Okay, I think probably sense of humor is like one of my favorite ones. The fact that, and it's tied very closely to learning and storytelling because you hear traditional stories, and I grew up listening to them from my mother. That was some of my favorite times, was just sitting and listening to her talk about um, all of these legends and these legendary people, legendary um, entities, creatures that exist within like our Hidatsa lore. Um, it's sometimes some stories, they don't necessarily always have to have a moral or anything like that. Sometimes they were just for fun. Sometimes they were definitely ones that were intended to teach a lesson, but they might have been kind of flipped on their head, teach a lesson backwards, so to speak, how not to be, that type of thing. So, it, and we natives, I don't know why we end up being these cigar store natives, or the portrayals of us are like of this stoic thing standing with our arms crossed, and because natives are some of the funniest people you will ever meet. I remember just in my professional life, and I hate to call out anybody, but in some of the places that I've worked, my colleagues thought I was the funniest person they had ever run into, and I just felt like, you know what, I am only mediocre at home. I'm not even that funny, but it's, so you got to see, some of my relatives are crazy, but I mean, we use humor as a means of teaching those lessons. We also used humor as a means of self-preservation too, because there's a lot of difficult, very, very difficult things that people have had to live through, of course, that we know about. And humor was a means of kind of relieving that stress and being able to, if you, like they say, if you I laugh because so I don't cry, that type of thing. There's a lot of difficult things that people deal with in even in our in our modern societies and communities. Uh, I think about some of my colleagues and my friends, professionals who have to deal with a death or a loss or any other type of hardship from one moment to the next, and the next moment they're having to deal with budgets, and they're having to deal with strategic plans, or they're having to deal with all this other stuff. They're just trying to live life while they're carrying this burden of grief. So we like to joke, we like to laugh, we like to tease, and we'll try to lift some of that burden and help carry it for each other. So, and I think about some of my other relatives who are incredibly funny and who have taken it to the next level. They've put it onto social media. They start using native humor as a means to tell our story and to teach lessons, of course, still, and to just express themselves artistically too. I mean, that's completely valid. The sense of humor is to me, it's second to none. I mean, we have a lot of inside jokes too, and I think there's this sense sometimes, and I don't want to get too terribly pan-Indian or anything like that, but I've heard people say that for an outsider coming into the Indian community, if people are being terribly polite to you, then they probably don't like you. But if they're teasing you, then you've been accepted and they like you. So, because they know you can take it and you can, probably tease back and things like that. So that you want them to be teasing you and to be kind of, giving you a hard time sometimes and stuff, because it's all in good fun and it's a sign of acceptance. So, and really kind of like kinship things. So, I love that part of our culture.